What word would you use to describe Cambridge?
Diverse, but it's changed.
Do you find it so hard when you know in your heart you're letting me down every day? You're letting me down every day. Why do you keep on running away?
I was in a class, and then we're talking about how slaves were being raped. The white student in the back of the class stood up and said, slaves can't be raped because they were property.
My first period teacher went through the attendance and asked every single student after they said their name if they were white or not. And for everyone that wasn't white, she made a tally mark on the board, and she said, 56% of our class is minorities. If you're a minority, you should feel really good about yourself taking this honors class.
I was in a theater class, and there was a girl who didn't speak very much English, and she had recently moved here, and so the teacher pulled me aside and asked me to look out for her, and then added very quietly that she wasn't sure whether or not this student was legal.
One day, people came to my class to present about Black History Month, and there was a debate about whether there should be a White History Month. And when we started talking about it, one of the students said, well, Black history would be more important if it was actual history.
I was walking through the hallways with my friend, and at this time we were approached by a white male who told us to move, nigga.
The teacher would never be able to remember the names of the students of color who were male. She said, it's not my fault, I just get all those rowdy boys confused. Told a girl wearing a hijab that she liked her turban.
In one class I had a high B, and my teacher told me she would bump it up to an A because I worked hard, and I was the only Black girl in the class.
I wanted to take AP Bio, and so after class, that teacher came up to me and put her hand on my shoulder and said, are you an honors student? Because if you're not, we can find a way to work this out.
I was one of the very few students of color in a classroom signing up for an AP exam, and the teacher kneeled next to me and said that if I
He says, hey, what did you steal?
I was physically pushed out of the class by a teacher, and she called me a fucking yam. So I did report them. Like, nothing's happened with this, and after this video, I'm not even kidding, I've told everyone this, I've told my mom this, I've told my dean this, I'm done. Like, I'm not being a teacher, I'm not doing social justice anymore because I put in my work for this, and I've really tried to do this, and nothing's happened, so this is it, this is the end of it. When nothing happens, like, okay, that's great, you win, it's over. That's it.
Okay. Hello and welcome to another episode of your Human Service News and Information. I'm Hassan Rashid, and it's always excellent being here with you, and it's such a great achievement to come into your lives like we do here daily at CCTV. I guess you wondering what that opening video was about. Well, it was a video provided through the courtesy of the Cambridge Range and Latin School, and it was the students there, the Black students, speaking out beyond their dilemma and concerning racial equity in education at the Cambridge Range Latin School. We're going to try to get back to that video shortly, but there are a few things here at CCTV that I'd like to remind you of, okay? Going on here at, CCTV. Okay, we'll get to that later too, but I just want to keep it fresh in your mind that Martin Luther King Day is coming up. That's January 16th, and there will be all types of celebrations throughout the region. But next week, I'm going to just give you a rundown of all the events that's coming up that relates to MLK Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration. So there's, well, right here in Cambridge, there's the 43rd, I can tell you this right now, there's the 43rd annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration. That's Tuesday, January 16, 6:30 p.m. at the Central Square Branch Library. So they want you to join them to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. Speaker Reverend Irene Moore, introduced by Mayor Denise Simmons, performance by the Cambridge Community Choir, light refreshments provided, and I'm quite sure there are other events in the region. And so next week I'm going to try to update you on some of those locations where you can go and participate in the celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King Day. Okay, computer skills for people over 50. That's right, they're still running this program for people over 50. That's computer skills right here at CCTV. So our friendly knowledge interns are here to help you learn basic computer skills. Together you'll learn how to stay in touch with family, friends, search for answers to your questions on the internet, scan your photos and share them, and use applications, websites, and computer software to help make your life simpler, from checking training schedules to saving useful info for later, useful info for later. So drop-in hours for people 50 plus, that's 50 and over. Mondays 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Thursday 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So there's Monday's mini lessons at 2 p.m. That's they'll run from they have been running from October up until this December. So there's still a few mini sessions or lessons left. There's a upcoming lesson on the 12th, on the 18th of December, and that's entitled Bookmarking Websites. So 12th, which is 25th of December, CCTV will be closed. So I want to keep that fresh on your mind too. So if you have any additional questions, or you want to inquire about something here at CCTV, you can contact Michael at 617-401-4058. Okay, there's another event that's coming out pretty soon in the weeks to come, shortly. And this event is entitled Calling Cambridge Men. Okay, Mending Cambridge invites you to a discussion about sexism. Okay, so you come and join a discussion about how men who witness sexual harassment and sexist comments can effectively intervene. Dwayne DeFore, expert facilitator, will use audio recordings of high-profile incidents of sexism to guide a discussion on strategies to interrupt harmful behaviors. Okay, and when? It's Wednesday, January 3rd, 2018. What time? Times from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. And where? The place? That's Sonia's Restaurant, 10 Brookline Street, Cambridge. Dwayne DeFore is an educator, media critic, and activist with more than 20 years of experience facilitating violence prevention, masculinity, and sexual health focused discussions. So to register, please go to Mending Cambridge at evenbright.com. So once again, to register, go to Mending Cambridge, evenbright.com. Mending Cambridge is a men's leadership group that engages men in collaborating stereotypes around masculinity and becoming active allies in working to end gender-based violence. Mending Cambridge is supported through a partnership with the City Domestic and Gender-Based Violence Prevention Initiative and the Cambridge Public Health Department. So once again, the title of this upcoming event, which will be held January 3rd, 2018, is entitled Calling Cambridge Men. Mending Cambridge invites you to a discussion about sexism. So that's location, Sonia Restaurant, 10 Brookline Street, Cambridge, Wednesday, January 3rd. Okay, I'm Hassan Rashid. It's excellent being here with you once again. And thank you for allowing us here at CCTV to come into your lives like we do here daily. Okay, the housing the homeless can drastically cut the government's health care costs. Okay, children on a bus looked at homeless people in the Skid Row area of Los Angeles. Okay, for years homeless advocates have argued that if government put up money to house people, they will reap cost savings down the line. A new study appears to validate that argument. Housing for Health a division of Los Angeles County Department of Health Services Police places chronic homeless people into housing, connects them to a case manager for support services such as substance abuse treatment. For every $1 spent on the program, the county government saved $120 in health care and other social service costs, according to reports published Tuesday by the RAND Corporation. The study provides more fuel to say that what we're doing is effective, says Mark Torts, Director of Housing for Health. The implications are that we need to do more on this faster. Okay, so that's a new report coming out on how homelessness can drastically cut the government's health care cost. Okay, foreshadowing major food stamp changes. Feds ask states for advice. For many years, conservative states have tried to enact policies that would effectively restrict the number of people using food stamps and how they can use those benefits. Under the Obama administration, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, often blocked those attempts out of concerns that they would either be ineffective, too expensive, difficult to enforce, or illegal. And that's about to change. The USDA is preparing to give states new flexibility in administering food stamps, which are properly called the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. In a letter to SNAP directors on November 3rd, USDA administrators promised increased federal cooperation with states to reduce fraud, promote employment, and improve customer service for food stamp recipients. Okay, so as that issue, that case develops, that situation develops, we're going to inform you as soon as we get more information. But once again, the headlines was once again foreshadowing major food stamp changes. Fed asks states to states for advice. So perhaps the Trump administration is going to do some more about food stamps and the feeding of poor people. Okay, those who can't afford. Okay. Press release, Baker, political administration announces new housing choice initiatives. Okay, Governor Baker, political administration announces new housing choice initiatives will spur significant housing production and provide municipalities with tools and incentives to drive the creation of 135,000 new units by 2025. Okay, Monday, I think that was Tuesday, the Baker Polito administration announced a comprehensive new initiative to substantially increase housing production across the Commonwealth. The administration Housing Choice Initiatives creates a new system of incentives and rewards for municipalities that deliver sustainable housing growth, creates a new technical assistance toolbox to empower cities and towns to plan for new housing production, and propose legislative changes through an act to promote housing choice to deliver smart, effective zonings at the local level. Okay, so that's a great thing for the communities in the region, the cities, different regional locations. That's announcement for a new housing choice initiative. So we're going to try to get back to that issue in the weeks to come in a little bit more detail. So all we can do here in Human Service News with the time permitted is to briefly cover some of the major events that relates to the human service sector, MOSAIC, and industry. Okay, DCF reports raises questions over an auditing protocol. Okay, an audit of the Massachusetts Department of Children and Families released last week is raising questions over incidents of abuse and neglect. State Auditor Susan Bont found that children under the care of DCF, which is the Department of Children and Families, suffered at least 2,060 serious injuries in 2014 and 2015 through 2015 that were not included in the DCF records. The auditor also found at least 19 instances of serious abuse or neglect that were not reported to district attorneys. In a letter written in response to the audit, Governor Baker cited the report claims as irresponsible. He said he was dismayed to see the auditor use of old data and wrote to ignore nearly everything you have done for the past 2.5 years to improve the agency's ability to do its work. Strikes me as wrong. Bunk says she stands by the findings, says it was an effort to highlight systematic flaws in the DCF. So as that issue developed there on Capitol Hill, not Capitol Hill, but the Hill, and the Hill in Boston, that's where the State House is located, okay? That's where they have reported to have found flaws in the DCF. So that's still a developing situation, and we have touched on it briefly, but we'll cover more detail in the days to come. Okay, this is another issue here that's emanating out of the, what do you call that, over there in Boston, where the government is located. It's a hill, I know, but it'll come to me. But right now, explain the state budgets for year 2018 includes veto overrides. In the Massachusetts Budget Policy Center latest budget monitor, the state budget for fiscal year 2018 includes veto overrides. We see the fiscal year 2018 budget session ending much the way it started, with our state facing difficult fiscal conditions and unable to make the kinds of long-term investments that could significantly improve the quality of life in Massachusetts, expand opportunities in all communities. At this point in the process, after the legislature enacted budget, the government made a number of line item vetoes, and the legislature overrode virtually all those vetoes and approved some supplemental funding. We have a state budget that makes some modest investments, particularly in education, child welfare, and in addressing substance use disorders. So I'm going to tell you how the recent budget related to the human service sector, but not this week, in the weeks to come, and because fact of our time limits here at this broadcast. But that's a veto program, and the government, that's very interesting, because a lot of the line items that relate directly to underprivileged and poor people, some of those items were vetoed, and there are certain advocacy groups who are trying to reverse the government's veto on that, on those items, those line items that relates mostly to poor people. But in the weeks to come, we'll try to get into that in a little bit more detail. I just thought of that hill I was talking about. That's Beacon Hill. That's where the state Commonwealth government is located. Beacon Hill. Okay, one more item before we get back to that opening video that was produced at the Cambridge Randall Latin School, and it's a video on race and education. Some of the experiences that students of color have right in the actual classrooms at the Ridge and Latin School. But there's one more thing I want to get conveyed to you, and that is the Colby College renames president's house after janitor, a former slave. So at the Colby College, where it's located in Maine, and it has named one of their renames the President House after a janitor, former slave. That's interesting. When you enter the campus of Colby College in Maine, one of the first buildings you see is the President's House, and now it's been renamed to honor the legacy of Samuel Osborne. He was a slave, a janitor at Colby for some 37 years, late 19th century, who was also he was formerly enslaved. So that's a great thing. Okay. Once again, I'd like to put some more emphasis on the work of these young folks at the Orange Latin School. They came up with this video, and it's really it's an interesting piece of work. Let's get back to that.
Do you find it so hard when you know in your heart you're letting me down every day? You're letting me down every day. keep on running away.
I was in the class, and then we're talking about how slaves were being raped. The white student back in the class stood up and said, slaves can't be raped because of the property.
My first period teacher went through the attendance and asked every single student after they said their name if they were white or not. And for everyone that wasn't white, she made a tally mark on the board and she said, 56% of our class is minorities. If you're a minority, you should feel really good about yourself taking this honors class.
I was in a theater class and there was a girl who didn't speak very much English and she had recently moved here. So the teacher pulled me aside and asked me to look out for her and then added very quietly that she wasn't sure whether or not this student was legal.
One day, people came to my class to present about Black History Month, and there was a debate about whether there should be a White History Month. And when we started talking about it, one of the students said, well, Black history would be more important if it was actual history.
I was walking through the hallways with my friend, and at this time we were approached by a white male who told us to move, nigga.
The teacher would never be able to remember the names of the students of color who were male. She said, it's not my fault, I just get all those rowdy boys confused. Told a girl wearing a hijab that she liked her turban.
In one class I had a high B, and my teacher told me she would bump it up to an A because I worked hard and I was the only black girl in the class.
I wanted to take AP Bio, and so after class, that teacher came up to me and put her hand on my shoulder and said, are you an honors student? Because if you're not, we can find a way to work this out.
I was one of the very few students of color in a classroom signing up for an AP exam, and the teacher...
Okay, we'll try to get back to that in a moment. But right now, I'd like to remind you once again that the Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebrations is going to be held at the Central Square Branch Library on January 16th at 6:30 p.m. That's a Tuesday. So join the folks to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. King with Speaker Reverend Irene Moore, introduced by Mayor Denise Simmons, performed by the Cambridge Community Chorus. Light refreshments will be served. Once again, that's MLK, Martin Luther King Day celebration, Tuesday, January 16th, 6:30 p.m., Central Square Branch Library. Okay, common purpose goal leadership experience. What would you do if the world's greatest challenges were in your hand? Develop your leader skills to help influence the future of the world, as well as establish a genuinely global network. You will play a part in tackling the biggest issues facing business, government, and society today. A GLE gives you real and practical experience, broadens your horizon, and challenges you to adapt and thrive in diverse situations. It equips you with the tools you need to lead change and now and in the future. So, where and when this is an event, once again, is titled Common Purpose Global Leadership Experience. Another event that will be held here in the region, in the Boston, the Cambridge region, where and when. That's January 16th through the 19th, 2018 at Harvard Winter Session. That's the SOAP Harvard. It's a SOAP, S-O-C-H, Harvard. Time 8:30 p.m., 5:30 p.m. each day. How much? It's absolutely free. The challenge: how do smart cities ensure they are inclusive? For further information and to apply, you can contact, go to the website, this web address, commonpurpose.org /GLE/Boston. Once again, commonpurpose.org /GLE/Boston. That's the Common Purpose Global Leadership Experience. What would you do if the world's greatest challenges were in your hands? So there's another very important event that's happening right here in the Cambridge area. So don't you be sure to attend that one and the others that I mentioned. They're all coming up in January. Okay, there's one about a discussion about sexism. You'll be hearing more about that on your Human Service News and Information right here with Hassan Rashid. You know, it's always excellent being here with you, and it's such a great achievement to come into your lives like we do here daily at CCTV. So until next time, I'll leave you with the fact that you should always keep your nose clean, play it straight, and don't forget to assist someone in need of your help.
Kneeled next to me, and so that if I was on welfare, I could get a fee waiver.
On the first day, a black student walked into the room and asked the teacher if he was in the right class. She looked at his schedule. She said he was in the wrong class. You don't look like you belong here anyway.
There's was a tradition called Aloha Day. And when I advocated for myself saying it was cultural appropriation and it made me uncomfortable because of the sexualization and assumptions about Hawaiian culture, I was met with a lot of resistance because it was a school tradition.
I was hanging out in my ELA class and I heard one of the students call another student coon.
My French teacher used to talk about how Asian families act in a certain way and African families act in a certain way. And then anytime any student of color would come in late, she would say that you were on Haitian.
So one day I left my phone, going to class to get it. A teacher says, "What are you doing in here?" I'm just going to get my phone. He follows me outside. He says, "Hey, what did you steal?"
I was physically pushed out of the class by a teacher, and she called me a fucking yam. So I did report them. Like, nothing's happened with this, and after this video, I'm not even kidding, I've told everyone this, I told my mom this, I told my dean this, I'm done. Like, I'm not being a teacher, I'm not doing social justice anymore because I put in my work for this, and I've really tried to do this, and nothing's happened, so this is it, this is the end of it. When nothing happens, like, okay, that's great, you win, it's over. That's it.
I would be naive, and we would all be naive to think that every